everyone. So this week I've got a full-packed, idea-packed video. So I'm going to be sharing with you some breakfast / brunch ideas for this time of year, and to be honest, every single day throughout the year. There are some really important factors that I kind of like to take on board when it comes to breakfast / brunch. That being eating something that is warm. Warming foods tend to kind of feel very, very good for me. I'm not so much like a cold ice smoothie person. I prefer kind of like warm teas and things like that, and bone broth you're going to see within the video. I wanted to give you variety within this video. Variety is the spice of life. I know there's going to be at least one idea that you're going to be able to go and execute and maybe add your own flow, your own spark, your own magic to, and go and create in your kitchen. Speaking of creativity, I want to give a big shout out to this week's sponsor, which is Skillshare. So Skillshare is an incredible online learning community with thousands of classes to choose from graphic design to photography to web development to art design. There was a class that I took a couple of weeks ago that stood out for me. It's called Creativity Unleashed: Discover, Hone, and Share Your Voice Online by Nathaniel Drew. This class was a great reminder that whenever you're truthful, authentic, and doing what you love, doing what you are passionate about, there will be people in this world that will connect with that. This class is centered around Nathaniel sharing the tools and tactics he used to find creative clarity and successfully build an audience online. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and after that it's around $10 a month. So go click the link if you are interested. So for more inspiration and more recipes, make sure you head over to my website, go and check out my ebooks, including my brand new ebook, Home Cooked Wonders. So let's head to the kitchen. Let's go and get some breakfast and brunch inspiration. Let's go. So the first idea is this kimchi, smashed sardine and avocado on toast. I randomly just had this vision to merge these ingredients together. I love kimchi with anything, and when I tell you the result was perfection, it was so, so good. So sardines are one of those things, you either love them or you don't. I love them, I adore them, so I always have a tin of sardines on hand. I always like to have some type of fermented food, whether that be kimchi or sauerkraut, and avocados are a must. Looking through my fridge, I also had some mushrooms, which I just kind of finely sliced. I thought it would be a really lovely addition to this breakfast / brunch plate. So I began by smashing up my avocados, really, really simple. I took my ripe avocado, smashed it up, added in some sea salt, some lemon or lime juice, I can't actually remember, some black pepper, and yeah, just gave everything a mix. You could add some chili if you want a little bit of heat. And I kind of did the same with the sardines. I smashed the sardines, added in a little bit of olive oil, black pepper, sea salt, and I usually add a little bit of Dijon mustard to sardines because it just gives it that extra edge. So for the mushrooms, I heated a little butter in a pan, throwing those sliced mushrooms in, and then I placed over some black pepper. Looked like I drizzled in a little bit of olive oil, probably couldn't resist. Splashed in a little bit of tamari. Tamari and mushrooms just go hand in hand. Can't do mushrooms without a little tamari. It really brings them to life. I kept the pan moving, and then I threw in some dried thyme and some garlic. I like to throw the garlic in kind of towards the end just so it doesn't burn. That's just my preference. And then yeah, I cooked the mushrooms until they were looking kind of golden, until they had like a golden edge to them. So I grabbed my toasted piece of sourdough, and then I placed on top that smashed avocado, followed on by those sardines, topped with some kimchi, drizzled over a little bit of olive oil, and then I placed those mushrooms on the side, and I also had a little boiled egg on the side. And this is something that is satiating, delicious. It's kind of like a perfect midday type of brunch that I like to enjoy. And yeah, the combination of all of these ingredients is just mind-blowing. So the next idea is this stewed apple yogurt bowl. Now, when it comes to the colder months, I am not messing around. Give me warming fruits. Give me warming apples and pears cooked down with some cinnamon. Now you're talking my language. So this is the bowl idea that I like to put together. Obviously, you can mix and match just based on what you have in your kitchen. So I love using these Rude Health puffed oats. They're the honey ones. They are delicious. So that's kind of like the base of my bowl. Of course, along with some apples, which you're going to see, we're going to cook those down. I like adding in other things like berries, just basically whatever I have on hand, for some crunch, for some texture. I like using some pumpkin seeds. That's one of my favorite ingredients in a yogurt bowl like this. And then of course the yogurt of choice. So I like using Greek yogurt. I like using natural yogurt. Sometimes I have coconut yogurt. Today I had coconut yogurt, so I'm using this creamy coconut yogurt, which is delicious. So for the stewed apples, I simply just chop up my apples, roughly chop them, and then I heat a pan with a little bit of coconut oil, throwing in the apples, placing over a little bit of cinnamon, we want lots of cinnamon, not a little bit of cinnamon, a lot of cinnamon. And then I simply just cook the apples down, shaking the pan a little bit. It just takes like 1 to 2 minutes. You can cook them for a little bit longer if you prefer. So to assemble my yogurt bowl, I simply just placed in my coconut yogurt along with those oat puffs and those stewed apples and some blueberries and the pumpkin seeds. I also chopped up a little bit of dark chocolate, which just melts from the heat of the apples. And then I placed over one of my favorite things that I love to always talk about. If you follow me over on Insta, you always see me talking about bee pollen, just a little topping of bee pollen, and this goes down a treat. So I love throwing together these random omelettes and frittatas, just stuffing them with whatever I have in my kitchen, sometimes roasting things on the side, like this kabocha squash. I also found some fresh herbs in the fridge, along with like a strip of leek, which didn't need to go to waste, which could be used in this omelette. So I began by chopping up my squash. You're gonna need a strong, sturdy hand and knife for squash, but once you get the hang of it, honestly, it will be like your favorite thing this winter. So I chopped, peeled, and cubed my squash, placing it into a bowl, drizzling over some olive oil, throwing on some black pepper, sea salt, gave it a little bit of rosemary because I had some, threw in some random garlic cloves that just needed using up. So threw everything onto a baking tray. I love these warm tones of winter. Honestly, like visually looking at bright, colorful food will just, I don't know, it does something to me. I'm not sure if it does something to you, but it does something to me. Cooking with oranges and greens, it just brightens up my day, brightens up my mood. So I cooked down the leeks and I found some random spinach, and then I just seasoned it with some sea salt and black pepper. I whisked up my eggs, threw my eggs in, and then I had a little bit of Gruyere cheese, which I love, so I grated some Gruyere cheese in, more black pepper, cooked that omelette, flipped it over till it was done, till it was cooked, and then I served everything. So yeah, I whacked that omelette on the plate, and then I topped it with that roasted kabocha squash. The garlic gets really delicious and soft and caramelized, so yeah, I just love it. Delicious, quick, easy to throw together. You cannot go wrong with an omelette. It never disappoints. So good. So the next idea is this sweet potato amaranth taken from my recipe ebook Balance. So many elements. It's warming, hearty, grounding, and delicious. You can swap out the amaranth and use quinoa, which is what I sometimes like to do, and I even like to use porridge oats instead as well. So the sweet potato is placed in the oven until soft, and then I simply just whiz it up in my high-speed blender with loads of different spices. So think cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever I feel for, whatever I'm feeling for on that day. And then I add in some coconut milk. To cook amaranth a little bit easier, you can soak it. You just need kind of like a fine mesh strainer just to kind of rinse it after. So I simply combine the spiced sweet potato puree with the amaranth, fancied some fruit to top my amaranth. So I checked in the freezer and I had some frozen cherries, which I adore, so I cooked the cherries down, just literally just heated them up. Heated them up, super simple. And then I served up my amaranth by just placing it into a bowl, placed on top a little bit of coconut yogurt, swirled on those cooked down cherries, and yeah, delicious, simple, easy. And this can actually be made in advance as well. It's something that you can kind of make and then just heat up. As I said, the full recipe is in Balance. Last idea is this scramble, beet, watercress, and bone broth breakfast / brunch. Definitely not the most appeasing to the eye, but this is what comes to mind when I think of deep nourishment. This is an example that keeps me satiated, that keeps me full, that keeps my brain working, functioning. If I know I've got a busy day ahead, I need, like I said, deep nourishment. So I love the earthiness of beets. I love the way that they make me feel. I love the grounding feeling that they have. Tend to eat beets a lot, especially around the time of my period. I also love using a lot of watercress. I've spoken about this for years. It's just one of my favorite greens. This time of year, I actually like to just cook it down with some onions and garlic. Warming food. Warming is the word of today's video. I gave my watercress a wash, chopping up some red onions and some garlic, and then just placing everything in a pan, just cooking the onions and garlic down, placing in some sea salt, black pepper, and then throwing in the watercress, splashing over a little bit of smurry, and then simply just letting everything wilt and cook down. Really, really simple. So on that particular day, I also scrambled up a couple of eggs and yeah, just served everything. I served the cooked down watercress, the scrambled eggs, the warmed up beetroot, placed over a little bit of furikake, which is my favorite sesame seed seasoning. I poured me up a cup of bone broth, which I cannot get enough of. I've really got into bone broth over the past year or so, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I go through different stages of having it, and right now I'm just in a bone broth phase. So yeah, I hope at least one of these ideas will stand out for you. Let me know which one you'll be trying first. Drop me a comment if you have anything to ask me. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. See you all soon. Bye.
Continue to hustle, 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 hustle. Everybody get down, get down. Hustle, 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 hustle.